Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
Now, Joe Karp, and I have to say this, I don't want anyone not to go to these seminars that he has because it is, they're going to be in January. We're going to tell you what they are so you can set up this time now. You want to be sure to do it, and Joe and I will talk about that after. But let's get him started now. Good morning, Joe.
Well, I do want to correct you. We have them in December, too.
Oh, we do. I'm sorry. I have the January.
That's okay.
No, I have them. You know what?
I have January's dates, too. But
no, okay, that's right. We do have it. Okay, well, we'll talk about that after. I just want to get you started. Yeah, I see them now. Yep, I'm going to make sure everybody knows in December. That's why we have you on, so that they'll be sure to do it. I was very interested in your article, this upcoming article, which is all about, and maybe I should just do the one that we have now. I'm sorry. I have my December issue coming up, but we should really stick with the one that you did for November. Do you want to do that one?
I don't remember what November was.
Oh, okay.
Tell me what it was. If not, we'll talk about December, too.
Okay.
Because every one of them,
I know,
obviously didn't come from the lawyer's sermon book, and I picked it up, cut it out, and I never read it. So since these are all personally drafted and experiential, I can cover either topic or both.
I know you can. Joe, do you base the topics a lot on the clients who come in? Like this one for November was, how will probate impact your family?
The answer is everything is based upon the experiences that we have and see, or the questions that we get, or the cases that we don't take that we hear about, and the problems that people encounter, and the misinformation that people get. So it's all experiential, and this is not the articles that I write for the magazine are. This is not a professional journal where I'm trying to esoterically educate the lawyers. I'm trying to get down and dirty with people as to the real stuff they hear about, or they have questions about, and they don't understand, or they don't see past, the first move on the chessboard, and they don't anticipate the problems that many people don't. And it's not just a layperson's problem. It's a problem that many lawyers encounter because they don't see it either. In fact, one of the interesting things about my practice is the number of lawyers' families that I represent because the lawyers have sent them to me, or the lawyers have come with their parents, and the number of lawyers who send me their clients to assist them because they know what they don't know. They just know that a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing, and they are protective of their families. And that's whether it's doing traditional estate planning issues or it's handling elder law issues, particularly related to Medicaid planning and how not to go broke in a nursing home and how not to be impoverished and why not to be, and the motivation that should be behind it and what people are trying to accomplish. So it's all the real world.
Yes, and you have really been doing this a long time, and you take such an extraordinary interest in people. I always remember, I have remembered years ago, my own family, my mother and her sisters, the first thing they do is they used to go to a lawyer until they met you, at least. A lawyer, everything was, what do they call it, where it's just all computerized and they just change the names and maybe the addresses, boilerplate. You don't do boilerplate, do you?
Well, the answer is there's a lot of things in my documents that are the same for everybody because they're appropriate. There's a lot of things in my documents that every lawyer should put in or would put in. And there's a lot of things in my documents that I put in for everybody that other lawyers don't necessarily do. And then there's a lot of things in my documents go to who you are and what's about your life and your family. And that's why when we have an initial consultation with people, I don't start out with, well, what do you want to have happen to your money when you die? I say, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your background. Tell me about your spouse. And if the spouse is there, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your children. Tell me how they get along with each other. Tell me what they do. Tell me where they are. Tell me how they interact. Tell me about their wives. Tell me about their kids. Because every estate plan is about one family. And if you're writing this, what you're doing really is writing your plans for your family. And obviously, some people's families are all wonderfully cookie cutter. Out of all your listeners today, there's probably one family out there that has a cookie cutter family. You know, the Father Knows Best family. But if we know anything about the old TV show Father Knows Best,
Right.
by the way, Bud, the charming son, Billy Gray, he ended up becoming a drug addict. The older daughter, Eleanor Donahue, she ended up getting divorced. And the little kid, Kathy Chapin, actually got ripped off. Kathy wasn't her first name, Lauren. She ended up getting ripped off by her parents. So even the superficial TV cookie-cutter family in the real world was as screwed up or more screwed up than most of the families out there. So you got to deal with that type of stuff. So I want to know if your daughter's in-laws are hitting them up for money, and you're afraid if you leave it to your daughter, her in-laws are going to get your inheritance, not your daughter and not your grandchildren. So that's where we just don't fill in the blanks. We have to figure out how to craft something that will meet your needs and that it'll be there for your family.
Well, the
And
one thing,
what are
though,
you worried about?
yeah, the one thing that you're talking about, though, is very much like what we talked about with Dr. Mencia. You're really a diagnostician, and you need to sit and talk, but more listen, and then you can act, right?
Yeah, the answer is our business card says counselor at law, not attorney. Now, we are lawyers, and it is a law firm, but we are trying to give people counsel. And I'm sure Dr. Mencia, while he is diagnosing, and I heard the end of his story, he's doing a diagnosis, an evaluation, and then he's finally giving some advice. And some of these people, he's going to say, you have to live with this because the risks of the cure are worse than the risks of the problem. And you have to do a balancing act. Not everything that Dr. Mencia sees that which is a problem will he treat or will he try to cure. He may just try to keep it down. Let's not get there. He's not sticking the needle into that cyst because if he does, it could be a disaster. So it's the same thing. You're trying to assess it. And then sometimes with some families, you have to come down to the lesser of the evils. And that's just unfortunate. And by that I mean, if there's not enough, if you have two kids and they don't get along, and you can't, and one of them's fiscally irresponsible, but the older brother can't stand the younger sister and her husband, he doesn't want to be in charge of her money just so she could be fiscally responsible. He doesn't like her. He can't talk to her. He doesn't respect her, and he's not going to be her caregiver. You don't want to cut out that daughter who's a spendthrift. So then you come up with the next possible alternative, and you sit and weigh these things out. And that's what it's all about. It's always about trying to figure out what's the best you can do. And good lawyering does what good doctoring does. No harm.
That's a good, yep, that's a wonderful thing, and we wish more lawyers would do that. But maybe it's time now for me to just tell everyone, these are called free senior survival workshops. You hear about the new tax laws, the new Medicaid laws, and so many other things. It's a very entertaining and educational seminar. And Tuesday, December the 8th, from 1:30 to 4, Courtyard by Marriott in Boynton Beach. Wednesday, December 9th, from 1:30 to 4 at Port St. Lucie Holiday Inn. And Thursday, December the 10th from 1:30 to 4, Palm Beach Gardens, Marriott. No reservations are required. For information, call 1-800-893-9911 or go to their website, which is karplaw.com. That's KARPLAW.com. It will be the best seminar you probably ever attended. You get to meet Joe or his associates, and I know that people have gone over and over because everyone is different. So if you went 2 years ago, go again, because you will hear new things. Right, Joe?
Yeah, and you'll hear new things, and sometimes you were just not ready for it. Sometimes you just weren't ready for it, for whatever was going on. Maybe your family was in too much disarray. And that's one of the things people say, is sometimes when they come in and their family does have a situation like the one I just described, and I come in and I say, as the diagnostician, okay, we have a problem here. And the person will say, well, that's why I haven't come in all these years. I haven't had a solution. I say, well, let's talk about the reality. The reality is everybody in this world has an estate plan already. Whether they drafted it, whether the legislature drafted it, we all have an estate plan. If you had died yesterday, this is what would have happened to your estate, okay, without any documents or with the documents you have. Now, let's take a look. Do you want to deal with this because is this a horrible alternative? Is this not what you want? And from there, you can say, well, let's craft the best we can and deal with it. And, yeah, you might have to change it in 2 years. You might have to change it in 2 years because things got worse or things got better. But you don't like what you have. And many people have things that are so screwed up. And they're always thinking, by the way, primarily about what happens when I die, when it's traditional estate planning. And they're not dealing with their own life documents. Who will be managing your money for you while you're alive if you're not managing it? Who will be making your medical decisions for you? Are those documents up to date? At a client, and our clients are told to come back every 3 years for a review. Had somebody come in this week. His father, who was a client of mine, did his estate plan in 2001. I give my clients certain instructions. The father did not follow them. One of the things was very simply, make sure your power of attorney is brought to your bank, where he had an individual checking account, and make sure it goes to where you have your IRA, so that they will honor it when the time comes when your son shows up. Find out that they will. Well, now Dad's in a nursing home. The son came in, and we're going to have to do Medicaid planning for Dad. And I said, well, have you ever dealt with the IRA company or the bank? He said, no. I said, where's your father's power of attorney? He said, I don't know. I'll have to ask him. He said, I've never seen it. I said, well, it's a 2001. Some banks, even though they shouldn't do this, they won't honor something 15 years old if they haven't seen it before. We may have to do a new power of attorney with Dad. Is he still capable of signing? He said, well, his handwriting stinks, but he knows what he's doing. I said, well, that's why we have witnesses and notaries, so that somebody's handwriting could have deteriorated. And some of my clients, when they have strokes and Parkinson's, their handwriting looks nothing. You can't tell their signature. It looks like they went to medical school. It's a scribble. It's barely a line, and it looks broken and stilted, as if somebody had a physical disability impairing their ability to write, because they do. And I said, well, now we got to get on the stick and do this. Now, I had this client come in for his reviews. I would have said, attend to this now, see if the bank will honor it, see if the company holding your IRA will honor it. If not, we're going to have to address that before it hits the fan. So people have to recognize estate planning is about life as much as death. In fact, in certain respects, death is almost easier. At least you're dead. It's not about you anymore. It's their problem. And if it takes a little longer to fix the mess up, it takes a little longer. But this guy's in rehab. He's going to end up in a nursing home for the rest of his life. His son's got to get control of his affairs. We are going to do some stuff for Medicaid to preserve and protect some assets. And by the way, people say, why do you do that? And the answer is, it's not about giving the kids money. It's not about the kids' inheritance. These people were thrilled when I explained what was going to go on and what we could do, that the children will have money in their pockets to enhance Dad's quality of care, because you know that nursing homes cannot give the kind of individual attention that people deserve, because we all deserve more care than we get in a facility. They've got limitations. They can't have one-on-one care for everybody. So they probably have 1 on 10. And so I said, now you can bring in a private duty attendant every day for 3 hours so your dad can have his breakfast fed to him and somebody can talk to him and help get him ready for the day. And you can have somebody talk to you as what's going on, because you can't be there every day. And even if you're a retired child, my clients who are retired still have lives that they need. So it's important that people understand it. And then you're again getting back to who's the cast of characters. And you have notes on that, and it's interesting. I had somebody in yesterday, and I said, which son are you? And I had notes from 1998 that they had 3 children. One was a social worker, one was, I forgot what the other 2 was, but one of them, the family was Jewish, and one of the children was Orthodox. And I said, well, I know you're not Michael, if that was the name of the Orthodox child. And he said, how do you know that? I said, it's almost sundown, and you're sitting in the lawyer's office.
Right.
And he said, you really do know my family. I said, well, frankly, I don't know, but I take good notes so I remember and I can put things together. And it came to what we would be doing for the parents and what their needs were.
Well, Joe, I have to interrupt you to just compliment you, so that everybody understands something. Joe has taken care of our own personal estate as well as my family members, but we sold a piece of property recently that I inherited a long time ago, and the CPA needed to know what the price was, what the value was at the time of my mother's death. Well, I would have had to search so many places to find that, and I called Joe up, called his office, and let me say, and I didn't need it this soon. I could have waited a day or two. Within 20 minutes, I had a call back, and I had the information. That is so appreciated and so unheard of, Joe.
Yeah, we have a good record-keeping mechanism, and I can share in your case. First thing is, I looked up the wrong thing. I looked up under your name, and I said, oops, I got to go to Mom's name.
Right.
Because it was Mom's estate, and then we found the appraisal, and we're able to send you more than you even need, because we sent you a copy of the entire appraisal. But that's important. People expect, and that's why, by the way, that's why our firm has built, because of the continuity of information and relationships. Okay? If you drop the ball with the moms of this world, why the hell would the children come in to you? And granted, most of the children don't live here. There's a disproportionate amount, but we get the feedback all the time. If you were living in New Jersey, we still would have done the same thing and still would have been equally responsive. And you would have said to your cousin or your mother's old friend who still lives in Florida, they did this for me. So it's important, because I now try to write a welcome note to everybody who hires us. And my note says, basically, welcome to our family, because we try to treat every one of our clients as we would treat our family. And that we, as a law firm, the people who work us, the 26 of us who work together, are family. And speaking of family, you have a long-distance listener. My nephew, David, I just found out, who lives in Canton, Georgia, gets up every Saturday morning that I'm on the air and listens to me on the Internet. So good morning, David. You're crazy. You should be sleeping at this time. But we treat people like family. And that's, by the way, David listening is what family would do.
Yeah.
Family pays attention. And that's what we try to do with our clients. And we're going to have these workshops. And for people who are concerned, one of the things I want to say is when we do the workshop, we're going to offer you a free consultation if we think you can help you. And some of the people may say, well, I'm getting too busy. The holidays are coming. I'll go in January. January 20-something is when our next workshops are January 26th. Come in December. Make the appointment for the beginning of January, because guess what? All of your friends and neighbors are going to come in January, and we can just see so many people at one time. So if you come in and you can't make the appointment, the free consultation, before the end of the year, well, you'll come in at the beginning of the year for it, or you'll come in now, between now and the end of the year, and your documents still won't be done right away if we're doing documents. You may walk out and we say, hey, everything is fine, your documents do meet your needs.
Right.
Or talk about it. And also it gives you a chance, because many of my clients say, well, I've got to talk to the kids. Well, if you come to the seminar now, the workshop now, make an appointment. Well, you may be seeing your kids before the first of the year because they have holiday time off. You may be up there or they may be out here, and then you can make some decisions.
Well, but Joe, I want to.
Enemy.
I have to say, I want to tell everybody a little bit more about you so that we can get people to call you. So Joseph Karp is a nationally certified and Florida Bar certified elder law attorney. He specializes in the practice of trusts, estates, and elder law. And his offices are located in Boynton Beach, and his main office is Palm Beach Gardens, and also he has another place up in Port St. Lucie. But you can call toll-free from anywhere, which is 800-893-9911. And his website, as I said before, is karplaw.com, KARPLAW. And also you should read the Florida Elder Law and Estate Planning blog at karplaw.blogspot.com. Lots of good information on that. And Joe is a very attractive young man, I must say. And so you can bring your mother, and she'll be very happy to listen to him. He's articulate, and he's also a real family man. So you're going to love to go to Joe Karp. I mean, he's not the typical lawyer. Let me just say that. So did I make your head swell?
I hope not, because then I'd need Dr. Mencia to put some ice on it,
right,
and stick a needle in there. So but I do appreciate it, and we do work hard for helping people, and it brings us great pleasure. That's the one thing, and all of the lawyers in my office, I hire lawyers who happen to be very bright. But I got to tell you the truth. There's a lot of bright lawyers out there. I hire lawyers who care about people first, who understand the importance of keeping families connected and not worrying about only dollars. I always say, when somebody would come in and say, I want to know how to beat taxes, I say, don't let the tax tail wag the dog. Pet the dog, enjoy it. Don't make your estate plan all about taxes. Make your estate plan about people. The taxes will take care of themselves. And I say, in the worst case scenario, and by the way, today for a married couple, that's $10.9 million, so it's not even a reality for anybody anymore. In the worst case scenario, your family will be well taken care of, and the country that gave you this opportunity for wealth will make a little bit of money. Not the end of the world.
With that,
Don't worry
Joe,
about the taxes.
Yeah, and I want to wish you a very happy holiday and the family, and we thank you so much. Again, we're going into, 19 or 20 years having you work with us. It's such a pleasure.
Has there been anybody writing for your paper as long as I?
I know, you're it. You're the best. You're the best.
I am now the elder.
Yeah, that's right. You're our elder.
Boomer Times. Hell, I'm probably the only one who was there when it was Senior Life.
Right. Thank you very much, Joe. Have a
Take care,
great
be my
holiday.
best. Happy holidays.
All right,
to
the same
everyone.
to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.